I am Vykintas Motuza. I'm living in the northeast part of Lithuania, and I'm representing the brewing tradition of my region. It's Anykščiai region.
How did you find out about this unique way of brewing?
This tradition just found me somehow, accidentally. I moved to this region 8 years ago to live, and it was a very interesting accident. One of my neighbors, he presented me all the brewing equipment because his wife was a brewer, and she died a year before I moved in. And I started to brew local tradition way. He was always helping to the wife to brew Captinis beer and this stone beer. So he told me what to do, how to do, and then I started a small local festival of Sekminiu Sambariai to gather more old guys, more people, to share the tradition, to share the different skills in this type of beer brewing. So I collected a bit more information about how it was done in old days, because it's still alive, but most of the guys were a bit old, and it's some work to do with all these wooden vessels. It's kind of heavy stuff. So we are just we have old information, but we are not brewing because we're just a bit too old for that.
How long do you think this tradition goes in the past?
I think it's very old. Nobody knows, but this Captinis beer, I think it's very connected with the traditional way of living, traditional household, and this it's very connected with everyday life, because all this beer is made in the bread stove, what they use every day for baking bread, and so it's very old. And when you are starting to collect more historical information or whatever, so it was in past days it was the main beer of all this region. And when we start to brew more simple way, not using the bread stove, we call this beer the old beer. Old beer. So probably in the old days it was the main beer to make.
How would you describe a unique taste of the Lithuanian beer? Is there such a thing?
In Lithuania there is lots of different beers, farmhouse beers. So every region has their own taste. And how I can describe my region beer? It's Captinis or baked with the stones. So it's a ruby dark beer. Tastes like a home. It tastes very connected with the bread. And it tastes like a home. What can I explain?
You have the barrels behind you, and those are still in use, yeah? You use them to prepare the beer.
Yes, it's my main vessels to keep a beer, and I have more of them, different sizes. Some of them I just keeping in the cellar because I can move them when they're full. Move them out.
We need to drink the beer.
so we have to. So it's more like sitting in the house and always waiting for the guests. Was the time when there was no need for these vessels, yeah? Like at the end of the silver time, it was no need for these vessels. So a bit disappeared also the craft of making these vessels.
Yeah, and it's the same all over the world. I guess Pilsner is the only brewery that still uses them.
Yeah, so now it's some kind of renaissance, and already some craftsmen were already try to still started to make them again, because we are a bit, of course, spreading the tradition and stuff.
So yes, please tell me more about the vessels you're using. Have you made them yourself, or do you have some Lithuanian company making those?
No, it's just some. In Lithuania, we have few craftsmen who still make them by the order, yes. But I have lots of. Mostly, I'm using old ones.
Can you show us?
Yeah, it's let's say this one. How you can understand what kind of vessel it is. So you have to look inside, and you see inside it's a black.
Yeah.
So it means what it was used for the beer making.
Why is that?
Because time after time, for disinfection, you have to burn it inside. You have to put the straw inside and burn it to disinfect for disinfection. Mm-hmm. So most of the fermenting vessels, they are black inside. Yeah, and this vessel, this one, it called in Lithuania it calls ušėtkas. Ušėtkas, but it's a Slavic word because of these two planks, what looks like ears. So uši, it's a Slavic. It's not Lithuanian word. So it's somehow some kind of connection with that. And it's very old because you can see it's deformed. Mm-hmm. Because of the using, so it's deformed. It's a bound. We have a bound bottom because all the time you have to wetter it before the doing. So after some time, it has some interesting shape. And this vessel was used for the first wort fermentation. Like this first wort you can ferment in it, and the second wort you have to ferment in that. And when you're casking it, you can mix first wort, kind of blending, You pour more first wort and second wort, you do stronger beer in one barrel. You're adding more hop tea to make it bitter in one barrel, to make less bitter and less strong in another, so you can blend it before the casking.
So can you tell us how you made this thing? It's from one piece of wood, yeah?
Yeah, it's made from poplar, traditional. It's actually not in Lithuania. All these lautering vessels was changed by these vessels. Some of them you can see in museums already, but I made one just for myself to go deep in the tradition. It's very cool. It was very interesting process.
How do you make such a thing? I guess it's really hard to carve all the wood from inside.
Carving is not very difficult when you have a tool, but the difficult is to make these lids for that you must know, you must have some knowledge, because you are carving it from the green wood, yeah, and when it shrinks very fast, so you have to make exact shape of the lids. Then you have to open it on the, you have to heat it, open a bit on the fire, and then you have to put the lid in and close it. And all these rings we made from the fir branches. So you have to also, like, before it, you have to keep them on the steam, so they start to boil. Yeah. So it's the difficult knowledge how to make this this vessel not leaking. It's very practically forgotten.
So congratulations, because there is no even one drop leaking out from it.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but first
Attempt.
yeah.
So how is it?
Want to taste? Kad yra palūtė vandens, ištirpusi gabuose, paragavo ir jam supranti transcendencinę muziką pasikeitė. Visą laiką dabar darysiu.
Special beer for this festival, and what is it?
Well, all the time this festival have some kind of theme. What is all about here. So this year it's about the tree and the forest. So I decided to go a bit deeper into the tradition and to show how to brew without iron pots and cauldrons. So we are doing everything in wood, using only the hot stones. So all the mashing and after that the mash baking and the water boiling, we are doing only with the hot stones.
Is it the same as it was done before, traditionally?
I think this my region tradition, when we use hot stones to bake a mash, it's like a voices from the past, from those times when we didn't have pots to boil a lot of water at once. Yeah, so it's a bit longer process. But it's not very complicated. You just must have a fireplace and enough stones to do it. So we are like connecting the tradition of what we have at the moment with some kind of past tradition. So it's more like a fun brewing, like a more experiment, but but I think we will make not very bad beer.
So we're close to the end of the process. What have you done so far?
We are mashed already, and we put everything in this žliaugtas.
But you mashed it with this hot stones
Yes,
from the fireplace.
yes. We, like a step by step, we are rising a bit temperature of the mash by putting the hot stone. We take them out, then heating again.
And how were you checking the temperature of the mash?
With a finger.
And how would you describe it? What type of temperature? What amount of temperature gives you some specific feeling? Like
When you can. You still can hold it, but it's already hot, already like a bit too much. So it's about 65-70 degrees. Yeah, so it's everything is in traditional brew. It's also everything with all the measurements. Everything goes with some kind of self-feeling, and it's very traditional way to understand what's happening. So you're using your finger, your senses to understand what's happening in the process.
So you prepare the mash and some different herbs with you boil as well. I mean hops and something else.
Yeah, it's birch leaves, a bit of wormwood, a bit of yarrow, and and a bit of and we are lautering on the oat straw.
You put some kind of branches underneath the wooden what is beneath those?
Beneath is juniper planks, oat straw. And a bit of herbs, like a wormwood, like yarrow and stuff. We pour a bit of herb tea into the mouth. It's already hops in this, birch leaves and birch branches, and for this moment it's enough, because the more stuff we will pour after fermentation. It's always like after fermentation, because the yeast takes lots of aroma out from the beer. So before the casking, we put some more aromatic stuff there.
Okay, so I understand that you will put more stones into it at the end, and then you will unscrew the ending here, and then it will loader to the barrel. You will ferment in this barrel, yeah, that you're next to?
Yes, it's an oak barrel, but I also have traditional one that is with burned surface. It's made from fir planks, so it calls with girine. It's a vessel to ferment.
And what kind of yeast will you use for the fermentation?
It's a Lithuanian farmhouse yeast, Lithuanian beer yeast. Yes, it's a Norwegian kveik-like, but today I decided because because it's all about the tree, so I'm using this planted with Lithuanian yeast to ferment the beer.
So how do you use it?
I just throw it into the wort.
And how fast is the fermentation with those dry yeast from the kveik-like?
It's about 15 hours.
15 hours? And how strong will the beer would be? What do you think?
Of course, you can regulate it, but it's about 6, I think.
6% of alcohol. So it will ferment so fast. And how will you check if the beer is ready or not?
Okay. We have a 3-step test for that. First test, when it's fermenting this type of vessel. First you are burning the match and keep under the edge of it. And if the match is stop burning, it means it's still ferment and its beer is active. If it's burning, so you can go to the second step. So you are opening the vessel and you have to make a gap with some kind of drinking vessel, because it's always foam on the top. You're making a gap and you see how fast the gap is closing. If it's closed very fast, so it's still ferments and you can cask it. But if the gap stays, so you can go to the third test, and the third test is to invite all your closest neighbors and to test it, and with more heads decide if it's ready or not. So it's a traditional a bit of sharing the fresh beer and decide it's ready or not. So you have to test it's sweet, too sweet, not too sweet. Maybe you have to make fast more hop tea to pour in. Maybe somebody miss a bit of hoppiness or some other ingredients. So it's the third test. So when it's passed all tests, you can cask it.
And after being casked, when the beer is ready to drink?
At the best way, it's not less than 2 weeks. But in summertime it's not a brewing season in Lithuania. In summertime, beer was brewed only in a few occasions. If it's a funeral, or it's a childbirth or name-giving celebration, or baptize celebration. Yes. So it's for a very big occasion.
And names are very important in Lithuanian culture, aren't they?
Yes, of course. So child name-giving celebration is one of the occasions, because in Lithuania the child is start to live after he is got name, yeah. So, but our brewing time season is let's say from the start of October to the end of May, to the start of May.
In what temperature you ferment the beer?
It's also depends on the region and on the yeast what we use in the region. Yeah, it's we have like a kind of two types of traditional yeast. One we call cold fermenting, one we call warm fermenting yeast. So warm fermenting yeast is it could be about a body temperature like 36, like 30, and with cold fermented it's also like a 29, 27 something. So it takes a bit longer, not 15 hours, but maybe 45 or something like this.
In craft beer industry, people are crazy about disinfection and destroying all the extra bacteria. And what you're doing here and how normal traditional brewing looks like, you don't really, you're not afraid to touch the beer, even though it won't be 100 degrees. Yeah, you're touching the barrel, and it's not totally resistant to the bacteria. Does it turn sour or not?
After some times, yes, especially in summertime. That's why it's not a brewing season. After 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, it goes a bit sour. But it also depends on the beer style what you're doing. If it's a bright or pale beer, it's not okay. But let's say for captinis, some sourness is allowed to have in the beer.
As I heard, it's normal for you to have the sour bacteria with your normal yeast. They go together, yeah?
I don't know, I'm never interested in this, but yes, probably yes, because it's sometimes it get, but it's you know, I didn't get this often, like.
Where Polish people, if they would be interested, where they can try your beer or any traditional beer in Lithuania? Is it possible?
Of course, it's possible. It's the best way is to go to come to my house and taste it, and to other brewers' house, because you know it's I think the real farmhouse beer, you have to taste it at the person's house, straight from the cellar, not brought somewhere outside, because it's this beer is not too much like traveling, and most of the people, what we do like for themselves. It's the same household job, like to chop firewood or baking bread or baking eggs in the morning. So it's the best way to taste the real stuff.